I think this was the juiciest chicken with the crispiest skin I've ever made. Hey guys, if you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm always on the hunt for the absolute best way to cook something that will yield the most delicious results. I think I may have found the absolute best way to cook an entire chicken on the barbecue. I know that's crazy to say that this is the best way, but I've made a lot of chicken in my life, and this one was the best. Incredibly juicy on the inside and beyond crispy on the outside. So I gotta give credit where credit is due. Jeremy Yoder over at Mad Scientist Barbecue, I saw how he barbecued his chicken low and slow, and then he cranks up the temperature at the end to give a crispy skin. Unbelievable. I tried out this method, I tweaked it just a bit, and it is honestly my favorite so far. So I think the biggest test to tell if you've done a good job on a full chicken, the breast. The breast is white meat. It dries out very quickly. So if that comes out juicy, moist, delicious, your whole bird is gonna be delicious. And look, I know you're probably getting annoyed at this point, but this method has given the best chicken breast result ever, bar none. The crispiest skin I've ever seen, even compared to like fried chicken. It even had that crunchy noise. It's simple, it's easy to do, and it's honestly quite healthy. All right, so enough talking. I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through the method, the spice rub, and the tools I used, everything. And stick around until the end because in the pro tips and tricks section, I'm gonna be sharing some incredible tips that you don't wanna miss. By the way, I'm cooking this on my Weber kettle in the middle of winter here in Montreal, Canada. So it is -20 outside Celsius. Guys, that's really cold, but a little cold won't stop me from barbecuing. If you're excited about this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up before we get started. And let's jump to it. My biggest challenge when cooking with charcoal or wood versus gas is the airflow control, to control that ambient temperature within the grill. There's that constant manipulation and always need to be there to hit that right temperature. More airflow, less airflow, constant spikes and valleys. And for me, I don't really like active cooks where I have to be there and baby every single step of it. So it's quite annoying. And because of this, I actually almost ruined an entire brisket, which is a very, very expensive cut of meat in the kosher world especially. That's the video. It took me about 14 or 15 hours to do. And all that because of temp control. And after that, I did a lot of research on the internet to find if there's a product that can actually help with airflow control within the grill. And I was using a Thermoworks Signals at the time. I actually found that Thermoworks sells an item called the Billows air control. I bought it at the time. I tested it many times. It's actually really cool. You apply it directly on the exhaust on the top, or depending what type of charcoal grill you're using. And then you lower the vent at the bottom to like an 1/8 open, just so it can pull air through. And it completely controls the airflow within the grill. It connects into the Thermoworks Signals thermometer and is regulated through there, which is then sent through Wi-Fi, and I can control it and see it from my phone. It creates a nice graph, and it really does a good job of controlling the temperature plus or minus 25 degrees. So for this cook, we're gonna be aiming for a 225 degree Fahrenheit cook. So if it's plus or minus 25 degrees, as long as it doesn't hit that 275, 300, we're good. Let me know in the comment section how you like to control your airflow in your grills. And just a side note, this video is not sponsored in any way. I absolutely love this product. I use it every single time I'm using my Weber kettle. And if you want to know a little bit more about the Billows and the Signals, stick around until the end. In the pro tips and tricks section, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more. Also, I'll leave a description for all the tools that I use as usual in the description section. The first thing you want to do is set up your grill. It's going to take some time to raise in temperature, especially in the winter like this. Let's get started. I'm using the snake method, where I'm using briquette charcoal in a snake formation. This will allow for a slower burn and a more even and controlled temperature throughout the cook. I light the briquettes on the edge. I get an aluminum tray in the center between, just below where the bird is going to be sitting, in case there's any drippings. I go ahead and put my Billows on the exhaust on the top, plug it into the Thermoworks, and set my temperatures, all through the app, which is really cool. 225 is the target for the internal ambient temperature, and we're going to be aiming for a 157 internal temperature of the breast. CDC recommendation, don't eat chicken under 165, but you'll understand as we go along with this video why I'm pulling it out at 157. Now with the temperatures on the rise in the Weber kettle, time to spice the bird. Now this is going to be one of the healthiest recipes you've ever seen for chicken. Spice rub, easy. Salt, pepper, and optional, garlic powder. 1 part black pepper, 3/4 part salt, and 1 part garlic powder. Mix it up really well and drizzle it all over the chicken, inside the cavity, on all the skin, in every nook and cranny. Flip it over, really make sure to get it completely covered. Now get some butcher's twine. If you don't have some, don't worry, don't go buy any, just skip this part. But if you have some butcher's twine, it's gonna help keep the bird confined so that the wings while they cook don't end up spilling out or the legs go in different directions. And I'll explain at the end of this video how I tie my chicken that works every single time. Now once the chicken is nice and spiced up, leave it on the counter, go wash your hands and go take a load off. The barbecue is not hot just yet. While you wait, you can go ahead and check out some of our other videos, like how I made a rotisserie chicken in the oven, and subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. So I monitor the temperature through the Thermoworks app, and as it continues to climb, we get ready. Once it hits 200 Fahrenheit, time to get the probes into the breast and get your chicken in the grill. Critical part is when getting it into the grill, make sure that the chicken is breast side down. And I'll explain a little bit about why a little bit later. Close your lid, and if you haven't already, set your probe temperature to 157 degrees Fahrenheit, and now let it cook. Now go do whatever you want to do. It should take about 1.5 to 2 hours to cook through. And with a little magic of editing, we're going to fast forward to the end. Did it work? Oh, there we go. Let's take a look at that graph to see how the cook went. So I started the whole thing at around 320 and took it out at about 520, so exactly 2 hours. Now that green line over there is the ambient temperature within the cook. And you see the Billows was actually able to control it quite well. It hovered around the maximum temperature, plus or minus 10 degrees, which was really good. So didn't really go past 260. I had a probe in the leg, which target is about 175. And if it goes to 190, it's not a problem. So that's the blue line. And the yellow line is the breast. As soon as it hit 157, you can see that drop, took it out right away to rest. You gotta let it rest 15 to 20 minutes. And it's at 157, so there's gonna be that residual heat trapped inside that's gonna continue to cook the chicken and bring it above 165. So it's gonna hit that safe zone without drying out the breast. Note that on Jeremy's video at Mad Scientist Barbecue, he recommended to crank it up to 325 to cook the outside or get a crispy skin. I really didn't find that I needed that at all. It was already really crispy. So I left that step completely out. One little mistake that I did make that I recommend that you change is when it's resting, actually put it cavity facing down, covered with aluminum foil, over a tray or a cooling rack or something, because there's gonna be a lot of juices that start to drip out. And if you leave it on a plate, it's gonna drip all over that crispy skin. Half of my chicken ended up extremely crispy, and the other half ended up, well, not so crispy. And let's take a look at the final result. Oh boy, that looks good. Oh, I can't wait to taste. It smells unbelievable, that crispy skin, the juices continuing to drip down. It was actually kind of hard to cut because it was still very hot. And that pink on the inside is not undercooked. It's the smoke from the charcoal, so don't panic. Oh my gosh, so crispy. Oh, it is so juicy. All right, enough B-roll. I can't wait anymore. Let's jump into the taste test. All right, so taste test. The pieces that were on the bottom were the breast here. Insanely juicy. The juices are still flowing out. On the side was the wing, where really crunchy skin, and the leg as well, and some leftover skin. So let's go ahead and taste. First, the dark meat. Wow. Fall apart tender. Unbelievable. Let's taste the breast. This is the biggest test. If the breast is juicy, beautiful, perfect. Gotta try this recipe, guys. You gotta try it. Wow, that was incredible. If you agree, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in that comment section what you thought. Let me know. And with that, let's jump into some pro tips and tricks. The first thing I want to share is the difference between briquettes charcoal and lump charcoal. So lump charcoal is 100% carbonized wood. It burns really hot and much faster. Each piece is different, which means an irregular and inconsistent burn different temperatures that come from it too, but a way smokier flavor. Briquettes, on the other hand, are compacted and compressed sawdust that's been carbonized. It burns a little bit cooler, but way more consistent. That's why briquettes all have more or less the same size and same shape. So you end up having a uniform and a more controlled cook temperature. And with that, a little less smoky flavor. So if you're looking for a low and slow, briquettes is the way to go. If you're looking for a hot and fast, lump is the way to go. Tip number 2, tying with twine. Well, that's a tongue twister. Tying with twine. So butcher's twine helps keep the chicken in place, kind of like a rotisserie. What happens when it cooks? The chicken legs may actually go outwards and the wings as well. So the rope helps keep everything compact and together. So the way I do it is actually quite simple. I tie it a little bit around one of the drumsticks at the end of the leg, tie a knot, and wrap it around the other one and pull tight. Then I just start wrapping it around the bird, making sure that the wings are compressed, the legs are compressed downwards, and then tie a little knot somewhere in the middle. I usually use at least 5 feet to make sure that it's nice and properly compacted together. Tip number 3 is cooking the bird breast side down. Like I mentioned during the video, the breast is the driest part. It's white meat. Dark meat is forgiving, so if it's exposed to more heat, the fat renders out, it still stays pretty juicy. But that white meat can dry out very quickly. Now when it's on the bottom, all the fat that's rendering through actually ends up going into the breast and keeping it juicy. Tip number 4, when the internal temperature hits 157 degrees Fahrenheit in the breast, out it goes. So a low and slow is 225, 250, max 275, and it's cooking slowly throughout. So not much heat, but there's a lot of heat retention that goes on. And when you take that chicken out, there's residual heat that will continue to cook the meat. So if you take it out at the recommended 165, it's going to continue to go up, which will make that chicken a little bit drier than if you take it out just that much earlier. It's going to hit a little bit past 165 as the residual starts to cool down, and then start coming back down in temp. And the final tip, tip number 5, is about the air control attachment. Now I know I mentioned this before, but guys, this is going to change the way you barbecue and smoke on a Weber kettle, on a Kamado, big green egg, or almost any other grill using, charcoal or wood. The huge benefit is it turns an active cook into an inactive cook, which means you can go out and do other things while monitoring the entire process from your phone. We actually left the house and I was able to monitor the entire thing. It never passed 165 or 167, which is incredible. And I wasn't home to play with those air vents all the time. I was able to monitor it from the graph on my phone, and you can see right here. See that green line? It was able to keep it pretty consistent throughout the cook. So it's a no-brainer if you're doing regular barbecues and you don't really like to sit by the grill all the time. The way it works is it plugs into the Thermoworks signals, you set the target temp that you want, and it controls it by sucking air through the grill or blowing air inside to control it just enough. If you didn't know this, well, the way heat is regulated when you're cooking with charcoal or wood is through airflow. The more air that goes in there, the hotter and the faster it's going to burn. That's why if you leave the cover off completely, it's going to burn out really quick. The temperature is going to go up real fast. More air equals hotter, less air equals cooler. Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you liked it, go ahead, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. Leave us your comment in the comment section. I'm leaving links to all the stuff that I was using in the description section. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. When you subscribe to Impossibly Kosher, you're subscribing to get delicious food recipes, classic and tested cooking methods, and everything that's 100% kosher. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.